To I guess translate, so bear with me for a second. But how many of you guys? I don't know a lot. Like Carter's already recording. Okay, you guys listen to the impacts that are given out, right? Who was on the leaders call last night? Okay, maybe take some notes, right? How many of you guys listen to your leaders when they talk to you or give you advice on some things? Yeah, 100%. Okay. How many of you guys read books or listen to podcasts or audiobooks or something like that? Okay. Cool. Now think about those couple questions and think about how much information that you actually retain from some of that stuff. Okay. Right? From some of the impacts or some of the audiobooks that you listen to or the books that you read. Okay. How much information do you actually retain? Okay. And then how much information do you actually apply? Okay. Because the way that our brain works, okay, is it's like a computer, okay? And do you guys know that when you're on a computer, right, and you have that little pop-up window that allow or don't allow, like cookies or whatever? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay? How many of you guys just you click allow or don't allow real quick and then you kind of go on with what you're doing, right? Okay? A lot of you guys are hearing some things, okay, that you can absolutely help you grow as an individual, and you hear it, okay? And it might be something inspirational, an impact or an audiobook or something like that. You get excited after a few seconds, right? But then you kind of rebound, and it's like that idea of a pop-up window. And for a lot of people, they just click don't allow, and they move on, okay? Some of us, and someone teaches you something that you know can help you in your personal life, right? You're like 100%, that can help me. I can use it for sure. You get excited about it. I'm like jacked to apply it, right? And then you click that little don't allow window, right? And it has no, or you hear something that can move you further along in your career, okay? But you have some maybe doubts, okay? So you click the little don't allow pop-up window, right? You guys are mentally doing this every single day, either inside of an Atmo, okay, inside of the field, or when you're talking to somebody about the business, okay? You like the idea of everything, right? You hear these good ideas from books and podcasts and leaders meetings and impacts and all this stuff, right? And you're like, well, for me, and then you click that little like don't allow button, right? That sounds good, sounds great, but for me, maybe not, right? Don't allow. Okay, you need to learn to develop a dream, okay? You need to learn to allow yourself, right, to click that allow button, right? You need to be able to be the guy that clicks the allow button on the trusted websites, okay? Right? Is anybody go on a non-trusted website and you're like real quick to click don't allow? Yeah. Right? There's a point behind that, right? You're like, I don't trust this freaking website. Heck no, don't allow, right? Okay? If you don't understand that your brain is a computer, it's powerful, right? Imagine I buy a $1 million computer, okay? $1 million computer, super nice, super fancy, brand new, okay? And I put it in the middle of the room, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave it up to all you guys to program the computer. I'm going to go take a nap, okay? And I leave and go take a nap, okay? I'm leaving everybody else to program my computer, okay? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Bad idea. It's a bad idea. I want to program my freaking computer, right? Like, I want to be the one that controls that, right? You're leaving it completely up to chance by doing that, okay? And sometimes that's kind of what we do every single day, right? We leave our programming up to chance, right? By the things that you listen to on TV, the things that you listen to over the radio, the people that you hang around or associate with, like all of that stuff is programming your brain, and you don't realize how powerful of a machine your brain is and how it affects the things that you do every single day, right? The point is, when you do leave that computer in the middle, you're leaving it completely up to chance, okay? And you're doing that every single day, okay? The things that you listen to on TV, okay, they may be telling you stuff like, hey man, you can't accomplish these things, that takes too much work, you're a loser, you're depressed, your life sucks, right? Just negatives being programmed into your mind every single time that you listen to it, whether it's family that you hang around, right? Some people got family that's like, man, like you're never going to be successful. You're talking about making $1 million a year, bro. Nobody's ever done that in the history of our family, right? You're not going to change our family tree. You know how many people in our family have said they're going to change the family tree into working as a mechanic and making $60,000 a year, right? They thought they were going to do it, but it's not going to happen, right? Some people got people like that in their lives, okay? The things that you listen to, right? You have to take that computer and you have to put a freaking lock on it, okay? You have to take your brain, you got to put a lock on it, and you got to control what's going in and out of that, right? Nobody touches my computer, right? It actually says I'm going to blow your head off on here if you touch my computer, okay? You got to be, point being, you got to be aggressive about it, right? You've got to not allow things into your brain that you don't want programmed into your brain, okay? And you've got to be aggressive about it, right? Because if you program it, that means your mind is powerful enough to start to believe it. So don't program yourself for failure, okay? So it's 2 steps. Step 1, guard it, okay? Your computer and your mind, cap the negatives, right? It's the reason we have no negativity signs laid out around here. That's locking your computer. Man, screw negatives. It never got anybody anywhere, okay? That's me locking my computer, and people are, oh, you're being unreasonable. If it's unreasonable to be positive, 100% I'm going to be unreasonable. I'm going to lock that freaking computer. I'm not going to let you touch it ever, 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 because it's too important and it's too powerful to me for me to allow negatives into it. So step 1, guard it and cap the negatives. Okay, step 2, start learning and figure out how to put the right things in it, right? Just on a computer, if you've got a trusted website, you're probably going to trust it, right? If you've got a non-trusted website, you're going to be real quick to click the don't trust button. Right? So you've got to know your resources and you've got to figure out how to put the right things in them. Right? When your leaders are talking to you, okay, somebody that you can trust, learn to click the allow button. Right? When you got somebody in your family or something, your friends that say, you can't do that, man, you can't be successful, learn to click that don't allow button real quick. Okay? So start learning and figure out how to put the right things in it. Right? Have the right people program your computer. Okay? Successful people, books, podcasts. Right? You don't need to like it either, right? How many of you guys, I hated reading. I still kind of hate reading, right? But I love it because it programs my brain the right way, right? And it makes me think a little bit differently than everybody else, and it puts me ahead of everybody else as well, right? So I don't need to love it, right? I don't need to love sitting down for an hour and reading a book. I get bored every single time, right? But when John Maxwell starts preaching, you get pretty excited, right? So you don't need to love it, but you need to know, hey man, like who am I having program my brain, right? Am I having negative, unsuccessful people program me, or am I hanging around successful people? Am I listening to success-driven podcasts or success-driven audiobooks that are actually going to have me think and program on a higher level, right? Whenever you hear people like giving impacts or owners or masterminds or advice from leaders, just do me a favor and just click the allow button, okay? Don't get that excitement for 10, 15, 20 minutes or a day or 2 days or a week or whatever, right? You get that excitement and then for some reason you click that don't allow button, right? And there's no application and there's nothing moving forward. Understand how powerful your brain is and the programming that you're doing every single day. Right? Every time you listen to something, every time you have a conversation with somebody, every time that you put on an audiobook versus music or something like that, right? Understand that that's programming everything that you do, right? And you've been programming since you were really little, okay? That's the hard part, right? You've been programming since you can remember. Think about your first memory. Mine was when I was like 4 or 5, I think, right? I've been programming since then. Everything that I listen to, every show that I watch, all the people that I hang around, right? And if you've been programming for 15, 16 years and it's negative programming, guess what? It's going to take a lot of programming, right? When you got a computer, right, that's busted, it's got a bunch of viruses, it's got all that, right? What does it take to get that better?
A sweep.
You pretty much swipe it all. Right? Sometimes that's what you got to do with your programming, right? You got to say, hey man, I gotta forget all of this, right? I got to cut all the ties with all the viruses that I've had, with all the negative programming that I've had. I've just got to cut it, right? I've got to start with a blank slate and I've got to reprogram the way that my brain is actually wired, right? So do me a favor, when you're listening to people, when you're listening to impacts, don't be the guy that gets hyped up for 10 seconds, right? And then clicks the don't allow button. Click the allow button and actually go out and apply it. Cool? That's all I have.